You're listening to Influential Barbecue, the podcast where we talk to influencers in the barbecue industry to uncover how they've cultivated huge followings, unique income sources, and sponsorship possibilities from a love of cooking outdoors. If you want to turn your passion for food and fire into a world of opportunities, you're in the right place. And now your host, Jordan Moore.
Hello and welcome back to Influential Barbecue. It is now 2022. Happy New Year to everyone. I hope you were able to have a wonderful holiday season, get rested up, take it easy, and spend some quality time with whoever is important to you. And now it's time to get ready to take on a whole new year. This week, I sat down with Matt Rose of Matt Out Back, formerly Girl Dad Grills, to chat about growing smaller accounts from the ground up. Matt and I started our Instagram pages around the same time in April 2020, and it's been great to see him begin to really take off and get the recognition that he deserves. He brings so much of his personality and energy to his posts, and it truly helps him stand out by reminding us that it's not just about the final cook, but you have to have fun while you're doing it. Be sure to check out Matt on Instagram at mattoutback. That's matt.out.back. And let's get into our conversation. Hello and welcome back to Influential Barbecue. Today I'm joined with Matt Rose, the personality behind Matt Out Back. Matt, thanks so much for joining me this morning.
Yeah, thanks, man. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Before we get into too much, do you mind just telling the listeners a bit about yourself and what you do and who you are?
Sure, yeah. Matt Rose, I'm just a regular guy, Fort Worth, Texas, born and raised, married to my high school sweetheart. We started dating when we were 16. We got married. We were like around 23, and now we have two beautiful girls, and we have a baby boy on the way.
Congratulations. That's awesome.
Yeah, thank you. And I work in real estate. I'm a huge sports fan, big time into 49ers and Dallas Mavericks. And, that's pretty much my life right there. Family, sports, hanging out with friends, and, in the past couple of years, more so barbecue, and big music fan. And I try to incorporate that a lot in my posts, and my vibe, my style, just trying to have fun is what I'm all about, and that's pretty much all there is. And I like to joke around a little bit.
You add a little bit of personality to your posts, I will say that. I love it. How did you get started in barbecue and barbecue space and cooking things over fire?
Oh man, so I remember it was a few years back. Maybe 2015, somewhere around then. I listened to sports radio all the time on my commute to work and all that, and just listened to the radio. And I don't know if they were sponsored by Big Green Egg, or if I know a couple of the hosts had an egg themselves. And so different shows that I listened to on there, they would just talk about their egg every now and then. And that was the first I ever heard of a Big Green Egg. I was never into barbecue at all. I hardly ever even cooked. We had like a little George Foreman in our apartment. My brother would barbecue quite a bit and grill and stuff, and I never even cooked with charcoal. I had a char griller, propane, one side propane, one side charcoal or wood. Mm-hmm. I used the charcoal side once with my brother there. So, I never even... So I had a gas grill, and so I just heard about this Big Green Egg, and they would just be like, yeah, made pizza on it last night, and then tonight I'm cooking steaks or a brisket, and I'm just like... Being me, who I am, I was like, pizza? Just out on the grill? That's all. That sold me. So for a couple of years, I was telling my wife, like, hey, this grill, I want to get it. Let's go. And I'm very spontaneous shopper. Like I'll spend money so easy. And luckily, my wife is level-headed and knows you don't need this. You don't know how to cook. You don't grill, nothing. So she was like, no. Rightfully so. I don't blame her. And so it was like a couple of years of me like wanting it, and then one day, for my birthday, she was like, "All right, you can get it." Got it just in time for my daughter's little birthday party, 1-year-old birthday party, and that's where I got it, and that's when I started getting on Instagram a few months after that, because I was like, "How do I cook on this? How do I even use this stupid thing?" And so that's how I found Barbecue Buddha, and so on and so forth, and that's pretty much how it started.
That's awesome. Like, it's for our daughter. It's for her birthday.
Yes.
I need to cook for our daughter. Okay.
Exactly.
I love how you work it in that way.
It's going to provide us meals.
Exactly. I'm providing for the family. I'm going to learn to cook with this very inexpensive cooking device.
Yeah, for us at the time, it was, she thought I was crazy. Like, this is so expensive. Like, what are you doing? You have no idea how to use this. I mean, but, I won her over.
So for anyone that doesn't know, Matt and I kind of started our Instagram journeys at the same time. For a while there, we were kind of going head to head. Like, we're figuring out what we were doing and trying to gain followers at the same time. We got traction, and for, I think, up to 4,000 followers, we just kept going back and forth. I'd gain 100, and then you'd gain 2, and then I'd gain 2. And we were always back and forth at each other. So we made a few jokes, and then one day, I don't know what you posted, but now all of a sudden you've doubled me. So I'm just looking up to you.
Yeah, one day I sold my soul, and then I left you in the dust.
Yeah. Like, what do you think it is about your content that has started to take you off a little bit? Like, what differentiates you a little bit?
It's something I kind of think about. I try to figure out. I feel like so many people give so much advice about do this, do that, don't do this, don't do that. Like, it's all over the place what you hear, right? And so you mentioned, like, we kind of started at the same time. And I remember seeing, like, some of your posts, and, like, I think I remember it pretty clearly. Like, I think you go camping a lot, maybe. We never talk about it too much, but I remember some of your posts where you're just out there live fire cooking, and I remember some of those posts went pretty big for you, and I was just like, dang, we're like the same account. He, like, boosted above me, and I was like, I can't get anything touching those numbers. So I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. Obviously, his looks a lot cooler. He's out in the woods, and I'm just in a stupid cookie cutter lot and block house, in the city, boring. So I was like, okay, that makes sense. But then, a few months, I guess a little bit less than a year after I started, I just, like, I don't know if you want to call it an epiphany. I took a break from social media, like, a couple weeks for our anniversary. We went out to Mexico. I just took time away. I actually did this a few times, and every time I take a time away from Instagram, it always helps, because at social media, it clogs up your mind, gets you, you lose ideas, and you just get kind of stale. Anyways, I just kind of had an epiphany, like, you know what? I need to stop trying to figure out what people want to see and, like, doing what others would do, because I was new to this. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I barely know how to cook. Like, I'm, like, really just figuring all this out on the fly, learning from other people. Like, I've learned so much from people, just other accounts. And so, like, I'm just, like, making videos, like, oh, this is what they're doing, I'll do it too. And then, like, nothing worked as far as numbers wise. And I was like, you know what? Stop looking at numbers so much. And not to change subjects, but people say that all the time. Don't focus on numbers, blah, blah, blah. Focus on what you really believe. You have to look, because you have to understand what's working or not. You just have to have the right mindset. Anyways, so I was like, you know what? Stop caring about that too much. I'm gonna do what I want, basically. Whatever. And so I was on the airplane flying to Mexico, and I just, like, had this idea. I was like, you know what? This would make a fun video. And it was just basically me doing what I do all the time. Like, even when I'm at work or my old jobs when I worked in office, I was like, there's music playing in the lobby. I was singing along, dancing, I worked as a teller. I'm, like, taking cash out of my drawer and I'm moving. So I was just like, I'm just going to do, like, literally what I'm doing. And I think that is when I kind of found, when I showed, like, who I am, what I'm doing, and it happened to be kind of funny and a little bit of fun, that really, I think, helped me take off, or whatever you want to call it, and start doing better, playing the game better or whatever. And people like seeing who you are. If you happen to be a goofball like me, that, I guess, helps, because people like seeing somebody being stupid. So
yeah, it's true. You got to be yourself for a lot of it. And I know a lot of people struggle. When I first started out, like, there was no pictures of me, no videos of me at all. It was just, I'm going to keep myself out of this. And was like, now it's just food at this point, and I don't like the accounts that only post food, so I got to start putting me in there again. And you really you went all in, doesn't matter what the camera sees. Like, I'm full Matt Rose now, and I think a lot of people really enjoyed seeing that, and, like, it really set you apart from the crowd of people that were too shy to put their faces on the camera, like me.
I do agree that it really does make a difference. And you mentioned the people that are too shy. I've gotten comments like that from people, like, oh, I wish I had the personality that you have, or I wish I could do that. And I was like, dude, you can. It's like, just do it. Like, even if you're boring as hell, do it, and then do something a little funny. Like, and it'll be good. Like, you don't have to be doing stupid stuff like me. If that's not who you are, don't do it. But, like, just be who you are. And, like, whenever I started doing this, I can't even tell you how much anxiety I had about it. I was nervous as hell. And I was just like, before I wrote it up, and I think I sat there, like, at first when I started doing goofy videos, like before I posted it, I sat there and was like, okay, should I really click post right now? Like, I would just get like anxiety, and I would like, I don't know, just be fearful that people are going to unfollow me because they think I'm stupid. And I already had the fear, like, oh, my food doesn't look good. I don't know if this is how it should be. Like, I am really not a chef or that great of a cook, in my opinion. So I'm just like, oh, I already have that anxiety. And then it's like, okay, you're really letting your guard down and just being stupid. And it's like, you don't know what people are how they're gonna respond. So it's people that the way they talk to me is they seem like it's easy for me. I think now it is, because I actually have the ability to not really give a damn. Like, I'll get embarrassed and I'm like, yeah, who cares? I'm fine with getting embarrassed. I'm used to it. It's just how my life is. But it's like, it's not easy as it seems. It's hard to do. It's hard to take that dive in, but it's fun once you do it, and having a good time. That's what matters.
That's all that counts. And it's so true. Like, it seems like it just be you groove along, you slap a piece of pork, and then you post a video. But you've got to get over the fact that you get stuck in your head, like, I'm setting up a camera on a tripod at myself to do something ridiculous, to then edit it myself later. So I'm watching myself. And then you get to the point where eventually I'm going to post it and a bunch of people share it. And you're like, do I really want to do this? Is this really what I need to do? But people love it.
I'll still question myself and be like, okay, what the hell am I doing right now? Like, I'm spending so much time on this, and like, watch my videos. I look like a freaking idiot. But I mean, I've kind of had the thing where if I do something really stupid, I'll run it by a few people and be like, hey, is this even funny in the first place? Because I'll think something's funny, and then people will just like look at me like I'm weird, right? And so,
Matt, no,
yeah. And I've had a few of those where I didn't post anything because that's kind of how it was. And so it's like, okay, well, I don't want to. I mean, I guess I'm not to compare myself to a comedian, but I feel like comedians probably do that too. Like, if it's not going to work, they're not going to do it.
Yeah. So I consider us to be smaller accounts, or less than 10,000. And when you hit 10,000, everyone says things really open up. You get more features on your platforms. You get more interest from other companies and partnerships and stuff. But you seem to have a lot of partnerships and sponsorship deals and stuff happening at the moment. How did you end up landing things like those as a smaller account without all those extra features and stuff? Like, how did you reach out to them? Did they reach out to you? What kind of happened there to land those?
So I feel like that's actually an interesting topic, because now I think I'm seeing things shifting as far as that goes. I know there's always been, like, that has been my goal, like, whenever I saw it as a realistic chance of like hitting 10K, because it seems like a good benchmark, right? And they have the swipe up feature and all that. But I have that now. Like, they don't have it as swipe up anymore. It's just put the link in your... I think everybody has that. You should check that out. I don't know if you have it now. I don't know if there's a certain benchmark, but...
Yeah, I thought it was 10K at one point, but they might have removed that.
Yeah, like, just in the past couple of weeks, they announced that it sounds like everybody's getting it. And so you just go to your story, you add the link.
Yeah, I've got that now too.
The sticker things. And yeah, so I'm like, okay, well, I don't have that anymore, so what am I doing? Like, what's my goal now? I feel like things change, and I never know what's going on, so I feel like that's something I would like to learn about. But so going back to my first ever like partnership or ambassadorship, whatever you want to call it, was with Way Hot Sauce. I was around 1K, I think, when we kind of teamed up. Huge fan of their sauce. They're my ride or die. I love their stuff, and I've met him in person. He took my family out to lunch. A really good guy. He had announced like somebody being an ambassador, and I was just like, oh dang. I was like, dude, I messaged him, and I was like, I don't know how any of this stuff works, like, as far as being an ambassador, but if you ever look for people, I'm interested because I love your stuff. And then he was like, I actually was going to reach out to you, and I'm going to bring on somebody else. Do you want to join? And then that's kind of how I joined that. Aside from that, there's been a couple things. Like, there was one other partnership that they were like accepting open applications, so I just applied and I got in. I think I did that for a couple things, but other than that, I think just people see your content, and I think kind of like what we were talking about earlier, the more that you show yourself, I think they look for personality. Like, they don't want to just see food, kind of like what you were alluding to. They want to see personalities. They want to see people having fun, like showing their stuff but being fun, stuff that stands out, I guess. And So I think after that is when I kind of started doing stuff like that. I started, getting messages. And I think the bigger you get, the more opportunities that will come in. And maybe maybe people saw me getting close to 10K, and then my videos were doing good. That's when they started like trying to get in before I got big. Maybe it gets to a point where you just get too many people messaging you. And I'm working with a lot of different people, and I don't really have any type of obligations really. I'm not really doing paid partnerships. I'm not getting paid to post anything really. That's something I'll work on if people reach me out, because I've come to the realization that that's what we all here should be doing. We shouldn't just be doing stuff for free. That's one thing I've learned lately, and I've told people that have reached me out, like, oh, I'll send you something, and I'm like, okay, well, let's discuss rates, and then I don't really hear from them again, because they're not looking for that. They're looking for free advertisement, basically, and that's what I think this is a good podcast for people to learn and talk about, and we shouldn't be giving them advertisements for free. And I'll say that there's a couple brands that Way Hot Sauce, I will never like ask him for money, no matter how big I get. Best Damn Barbecue Sauce, I won't ask them for money, just because it's like, that's not why I got into this. That's not like my number one priority, to make money. And for me, with them, we've built a relationship. I've met them in person, we've hung out, I consider them family. So that's important to me, is build relationships. So I think it depends on the context, who reaches out to me and how their message comes across. If it's like this big company and they're like messaging 50 people at a time, because you'll see that in waves, like a bunch of people will be posting the same crap. And so when stuff like that happens, I think it's important to be like, hey, you got to make it worth my time as well, because just to put one video in, that takes a lot of time, and people should be compensated for it, especially with how things are going these days.
Yeah, 100%. And especially, the cost of meat and all that stuff. It's not just an advertisement.
Yeah, man, it gets expensive, dude.
So I like that you mentioned a lot of people just kind of ghost you after you bring up rates and stuff. And I think that's a really good point for people starting out looking into getting ambassadors and stuff, because that's like off the hop, that seems to be the no-brainer way for any of us to try and make any money, would be an ambassadorship or things like that. And you said you haven't done any for money yet. You're fine with the, free product thing with the products you really like.
Yeah.
But you're looking into the money. But how do you deal with people just ghosting you after you put a rate out or anything like that? Like, does it get annoying, people only wanting to send you free stuff and not pay? Or is it just like, well, not worth my time, so it doesn't matter?
Yeah, I guess you could say I haven't done it yet because nobody's accepted my counter offer, I guess. And I didn't really know where to start with that type of negotiation, because I don't know what's fair. I don't want to ask for too much, and people think, oh man, like, what are you doing asking for money? You're such
who is this guy?
Yeah, exactly. I've kind of asked for advice before about like how much to start off asking for, and apparently companies being taking a while to respond is a common thing. So the way I've handled it is just say I'll get an email from somebody. Hey, we love your content. We'd love to send you out a few products. We want to see a post about this or whatever. And I'm being open and honest as I can. I feel like that's the best way to handle it. And I was just saying, hey, because it's true, I'm pretty busy lately. I'm not really on IG as much as I used to be, because I have family, I have kids and stuff, and a job, and so I'm like, hey, I don't really have the bandwidth to take on any more partnerships right now that aren't paid partnerships. So if you want to discuss rates, that's something I would be interested in, blah blah blah, and just being like, hey, that's what it is. Or even if, say, you have the time, and be like, hey, I'm only looking at paid partnerships right now. This is what I'm looking for. And then so a lot of the responses we'll get, I think it's kind of like a custom thing. They'll just say, oh, we don't have the budget for that, yada, yada. We'll send you a product. That's it. And another one was a different conversation where they replied. I'm like, yeah, that works for us. They agreed to the rate that I gave them, and like, we'll be in touch. And then like, that was it. I don't know. Like, and they just like really legit stopped replying to my emails. And so I can't explain why they're not replying, but I mean, I guess it is what it is. And apparently their boss told them no. So, and I guess for me, I feel like we deserve at least like a closure on that. Like, tell me what's going on. Why aren't you at least returning me and just saying, hey, no, we can't make that work.
Yeah, close the conversation out, right?
You just kind of like leave me hanging and never hear from me again. I mean, I've gotten, like, one of the times I got a response saying, hey, we're not looking to do paid partnerships right now, but if you want, we'll send you out this product and see what you do. see how we like it, and then maybe in the future we'll do something. And that something to me is like, okay, I'm not strictly in this for money, and so it's like, if at the end of the day, if I get something that I actually do need, or at the end of the, getting free stuff is still cool to me. I mean,
Absolutely.
a couple years ago, I wasn't getting shit, So I got, I won't name names or anything like that, but I got like this cast iron skillet, and I really freaking needed one. So they were like, yeah, we're not going to pay you, but we'll send you this. And I was like, okay, send it on over. Let's go.
Twist my arm, yes. Okay.
Because I need it. And I mean, I'm not going to get upset about it. I'm not out here emailing people like all the time, like, hey, pay me, let's do this, let's team up. I'm not going to get upset when people don't reply. It's irritating, that's for sure. It's like, it is almost like they're kind of wasting your time. Like, at least just tell me no.
Right.
I don't understand that, whatever.
I think it would be probably fair to say that if you're looking to start working with sponsorships, doing one or two freebies to kind of get used to it and figure out what is required of it would be a pretty good idea. And then like you could extrapolate the hours and how long it takes you to do certain things from there, and then build kind of a budget. Is that how you kind of decided what your rate was, or did you just pick a number that you liked and throw it at them to see how it worked?
I think that's a really smart way to do it. So I can maybe send you the link if I find it. There's a creator that wrote an article about it. She has her own website. Barley and Sage, I believe, is her page name. She has actually I think she has like story highlights where she talks a lot about creators, doing paid partnerships and not accepting just free products and stuff, talking about how companies take advantage of them and stuff like that. So I read her article, and that was kind of like my wake-up call about this whole thing. Like, wow, companies can really, not everybody, because there are companies that are real small, and they're people like us, barbecue lovers, and trying to start their own thing. And so not everybody, I feel like, can be lumped into that. But it's like, it's a good example of breaking it down. Like, hey, she gave examples of, she's like a professional photographer, at least compared to me, like really great stuff. And she has her own website. And so she talked about rates that she'll do. She'll basically give them example of like, hey, if you want just a picture, this is my rate. But if you want like a full thing with all these slides and a recipe, it's this much more. So kind of like what you're saying is compare what work you're putting into it and then what the final product is. And one thing I heard, like just from other people, is like so I heard a couple different things. One thing I heard was, no matter how many followers you have, kind of do what you were saying. Find what you think is worth it for how much work you put into it and ask for it there, whether it's like $100, whether it's $500, whatever. Like if you put in so much work for it, ask for your worth. So they said no matter how many followers you have. And they were saying that they know people that are smaller accounts that are getting paid. So kind of the advice that I took, they said something like if you have 8,000 followers, ask for 80 for a post, like for a single picture thing. So I was like, okay, I didn't really know what I was doing. So I was like, I'll throw this out there. I asked for like 60, I think, because I was around 6,000. I don't know. And then I told them I'll do a video for 100 because obviously that's so much more work. Mm-hmm. And nothing happened. So it's like even just that I think is probably on the smaller end than maybe what people are doing, and it got quickly rejected. So I think you just have to find the people who understand that value and who are wanting to do it. And I think a lot of what you'll see is you'll get rejected a ton is because everybody has the same campaign plan. We're sending stuff out for free. We got these products. We're going to send it to them, and they're just going to post it for us, and that's just all they want. So I mean, if you find somebody who wants to build a relationship and you can show the value that you bring and find a partnership, I think that's kind of I think you're asking about how to find those type of partnerships. I think it's important to start off with products you actually use and that you care about, or people that have that same type of goals that you do, or like raising cattle and humanely and you want to help them out, or it's a smaller local business, stuff like that. So I think starting off being genuine is really important, being not just reaching out to everybody in the world because you want to get paid. That's probably the wrong way to do it.
Yeah, I guess the most important thing then would be find people you want to work with, not products you want to use.
Yeah, there you go.
The company that you're going to have to deal with that company now, and if they were shitty to you the whole time working up to it, they're going to be shitty to you if they decide to pay you as well, because now they're going to think they can make you do whatever they want because there's a contract where you're creating stuff for them. And if you wanted to, you could give somebody the off price.
Yeah.
And if they take it, you're like, sweet. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
But
worst they can do is say no or meet you in the middle or something.
exactly. So I think for anyone out there listening, the most important thing would be find people that you want to work with, not products you want to use.
Absolutely.
Because that's how that relationship's going to be built. You're going to help with a product, but you have to work with those people and those companies to do it. Mm-hmm. And it's going to come out so much more authentic if you truly believe in the person and the company and the product all together.
And I actually have, so one of my goals that, like when I realized that my page was, I never thought I was going to ever amount to anything with this, right? Like I got like 800 followers, and I was just like, holy shit! I'm hitting 1,000. I looked at my wife and I was like, I'm going to hit 1,000 followers. I'm pretty sure, which was crazy to me, like mind blowing. And so I got over 1,000, whatever, and then I think it was like later, a few months after that, where I was like over 3 or whatever, and I was like, dang, I was like, okay, well, what can I do with this now? And I'm like still figuring stuff out, whatever. And I was like, okay. I was like, I should really do my best to like partner up with some local companies, like Fort Worth, help out this area, somebody. And so there was this a local butcher shop that I went to, not all the time because they were pretty pricey, but there's really good quality stuff. And during COVID, they actually had a lot of really good deals. Like they would give discounts to the medical field, and which was really important to me because my wife is a nurse and she had a really tough year with COVID. So I loved that about them. Like they were really supporting their community, and their meat was fantastic. It was great. I just couldn't go there all the time because it was not cheap, and I don't have money growing on trees in my backyard or anything like that. So I would mainly go there when they had really good deals, but then I would also get stuff too to support them. And so one day I was like, hey, I reached out to them. I was like, hey, I've been shopping with you guys over the past year, and I love what you've been doing in the community, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, this is my page. I've made it a mission since my account has grown larger than I expected to try and help out some local companies. Like that's really important to me. After a little bit of time, he reached back out and then like made an offer for like a partnership. Pretty simple. It was like basically like money to use to go buy like once a month. All I had to do was give him like one video a month. It was like kind of like a see how it goes kind of thing. Mm-hmm. Like $50 a month, pretty small. But like you use $50 to go buy a free product. So not even paid. And I was just like, hey, that's $50 I'm saving, and I'm going to help him out, which I believed in. And so I was like, cool. And then I like gave him a list of questions, like how can I help sponsor you on Instagram? Because people are going to want to be able to ask questions. Are you going to be doing this? Blah, blah, blah. What's your goals and stuff? And I just gave him a list of questions, and he never replied back. Like I never heard from him again. And on top of that, like they have a Facebook group. So they're inactive on Instagram, which is obviously not good for me. Like that, they're not going to comment on anything. They're not going to share my post or nothing. So like that doesn't help anybody. And they just started acting kind of weird on Facebook, getting, not to get into details, but getting political about stuff, and like, which was a huge no-no for me. It's like, I'm not going to go somewhere just because they're right or left, or not go there because they're right or left. It's like, at the end of the day, we're all the same team. Like that's how I see it. And so, it's not, but if you're being strictly against one side or the other and being really inappropriate about it, I had to end that. So that was really sucked for me, because I was like, I love their stuff, and I really wanted to work for a local company, but that kind of goes to what you were saying. You got to work with the people. Say if he did reply to me, I would have ended it anyways, because I was like, you know what, I don't want to be associated with somebody that's acting like this. You're not just getting paid or getting free stuff. You're working with these people, and you want it to be the right fit. You want it to match what you're doing and what you believe in. So,
and especially the way with like how the world is today with social media, and you have to work with what aligns with your beliefs and your morals and everything. Now, like it's so obvious now if someone is just doing something strictly for money, because they don't understand what the company's doing and being shitty about on the other side, right? Like the consumer or the partners are a lot more liberated and empowered now to say, no, I'm not working with you because of this. Like we are able to just walk away from companies if they start being crappy or doing things we don't believe in. Like you used to not be able to do that because they had so much money involved in things, or couldn't go somewhere because you left this company because you thought they were bad, and all of a sudden the employee is bad. But now we can go anywhere, start any business, and work with anybody at any time because there's so many options now. So working with what you believe in and what aligns with you is such an important piece these days, I think.
Absolutely. You said that perfectly, I think.
So we'll take a quick shift away from the partnerships because I think you answered a lot of really good questions for the smaller accounts looking to get into it.
And for anybody listening, if you ever have questions about this stuff, feel free to reach out. I am not an expert on it, as you can tell. But I feel like it's good. I think just to add one last thing about it is it's good to have people you can go to seek advice from. That's huge. And that applies to everything. So, yeah.
Yeah, and for everyone out there starting the accounts, or if you've been at it for a while, the biggest thing I think is talk to the people you follow. Talk to the people that follow you. Get in their DMs, comment on stuff, start dialogues with them. Everyone in the community is super excited to talk and answer questions whenever they have the time to do it. Like if you find someone who's like, "Hey, stop messaging me," just unfollow that person because they suck.
They're obviously, then that's proof they're not in it for the right reasons, and no time for that.
Yeah. And that's the one thing I've found with this community that's just been amazing is they will tell you literally everything. They can, if they did something and worked well, they'll tell you step by step what happened, how to do it, because they're not trying to hide it and keep it all for themselves. You just have to get out there and talk to people, because the only way to grow what you're doing, which then leads to more sponsorships, is to be personable, be real, and be someone that people can relate to instead of just an account that's clearly trying to just grow for some reason.
Absolutely. If you're, I couldn't say it better. And to me, that's actually people that I don't like associating with, where it's like, it's one thing to be in it for that. Like, I don't think it's wrong to want to create a page where you're like, that's your work, that's your job. I don't disagree with that, right? Like, that's not what I'm doing. I have a full-time job. I don't really want this to be a main thing for me. But like, if you're doing that, that's cool. But if you're doing it in a manner to that, like, I don't know, if you're doing it in the wrong way, where you just seem so fake and you just seem so standoffish about it, where you're just not a real person, that is kind of where it's like, I don't know.
Yeah, that's not going to take you very far.
Yeah.
For anyone starting out, like, 'cause you and I ended up with a lot of spare time last April, because I'm assuming everything you did got shut down for a while too. I worked in live events and that just disappeared. But anyone trying to start up an account now, or kind of like really dig into it, aside from what we just talked about, what do you think are good ways for them to kind of grow and flourish their account and reach more people? Yeah,
that's a great question. So I'm really curious what things are like for people starting now, because I know, as you mentioned, you and I think we were a COVID production, and then there's
100%.
I think a ton of people, like you'll see on their logos, established 2020, established 2019, so many people like that. And I think I will say it does take a long time to build relationships, and I think that is an underrated aspect of it all. I know a ton of people do a ton of different kind of annoying strategies. Like, there are people who they'll just comment on your posts, and they'll go like 10 of your posts, and they'll comment, and they won't follow you, right? And that is a strategy that I've seen, and like they're just getting you to see them. They want you to go follow them, and they won't even like follow you back.
I'm guilty of that. I've done that and was like, that's shitty. I shouldn't do that.
I mean,
So I started following them at the same time, but then leave an actual comment, not just emojis.
Man, we can talk all day, man. So for me, like, starting out, I was trying to figure out, I would just kind of do what other people would do. And then I would be like, okay, well, if you're being authentic with it, I think is important. If you're going on, like you're saying, just emoji, oh, go check my page out. Follow me. That right there is what not to do. Like, when people message me, I'm a person, I don't keep my opinions and my thoughts to myself very well, because when I do that, it eats me up inside. And so I'm going to let you know how I feel about you. And I've decided recently, life's too short for me to keep my mouth shut. So if I don't like you, you're probably going to find out. And, that's just how it is. But if you're nice, then I won't be mean about it. But people message me like, hey, great content. Let's follow each other. Let's support each other. And I'll wait a few minutes after I see it, give them time to follow me. And I'll go into their message and I'm like, oh, hey, thank you. That's interesting you say that, because you're not following me. It's like, because they're waiting for me to agree to this follow for follow bullshit. And I'm calling people out with this. Think about what you're doing, okay? Like, I understand the social media is designed to warp your mind, and that's why I take breaks from it. I'll take a step back and see what the real world is, because a lot of it is a game, and I understand all that, and it does warp your mind. I watched a documentary about it too. It's designed to program you, and it works very well. It's addicting as shit. Like, think about what you're doing. You're messaging me, and probably a ton of people, and saying, "Hey, follow me. I'll follow you." Like, what is that? That's not even a real interaction. Like, you're interacting with people like as if they're just, I don't even know how to describe it. Like, that to me it doesn't even make sense. And so people will comment, go on, they'll just scroll and scroll and scroll, like and comment, or like follow hashtags. Like, one thing I used to do in the past where, I follow hashtags and stuff is I would just scroll through like, and then or comment or like. If it was something that I thought looked cool, I would like it. If it was something I was like really impressed by, I would go and follow them. And like, one thing I didn't want to start off following a ton of people just to get followers, because it's like, I want to actually follow pages that I enjoy.
I want to see that content.
Yeah, and I don't want to like follow 5,000 people and like truly follow a fifth of them. Like that, to me, it's like, I don't want that many posts on my phone. Like, I don't have time for that. Like, that's why I'll never get mad at people for not following me or whatever, because it's like, I'm not following 20,000 people. Like, so there's so many people out in this world to follow. So that's one thing I would do, is I would scroll and just kind of, and I think I actually found, like, when I had so much time in the world, I would do that, and people would follow me just from me liking their post. I think one thing that it works for bigger accounts is if they're doing that, a smaller account will get a like, and they'll go see who liked their post, and it's like, oh, this big account, follow. So they're going to follow you. And so I think that is a strategy. I mean, whether that's bad to do or not, I mean, there's nothing wrong with liking people's posts, but going on there and commenting and just being fake, like, hey, cool content, follow me, and you're copying and pasting that message, that is like, I'm not going to even look at your comment. And people will say, oh, nice salmon. I make salmon all the time. Go check my page out. And I'll be like, no, I'm good. Like, you're coming on my post talking about you. Think about that for a second. Like, not everything's about you, And I remind myself, I try to remind myself that all the time, is like, if I ever get frustrated with, oh, this guy is not liking my post, or this, I'm not getting interactions. It's like, there's so many other people that they're following. They have their own life, so don't make it all about you. And like you were saying earlier, there's really great people in this community who will support you and help you. And for me, I think unintentionally, I've grown a lot by just being part of the community. I got stickers pretty soon after my friend made me a logo without me even knowing it. Like, that's how unintentional I was for any of this stuff to happen. He made me a logo, and I was like, whoa, I guess it's like official now. And so that was not anything I ever pursued. He surprised me with it. I got stickers, and I like posted about it, and I was like, let's swap stickers, not even thinking anything of it. And I got a ton of followers from it. I say a ton, but I don't know, 100 or a couple hundred or whatever, and over time. And like, that is just is a way of growing in the community. Like, it's being real. Like, there's nothing wrong with getting stickers. That's like spreading love, right? It's interacting. So things like that is like a natural way to grow. And going live with people is huge, because you go live with a couple people, and then a bunch of different viewers will start seeing you. Like, there's times where I hopped on with lives with people because I was invited to join, or I did it with them, and I'm just was doing it to hang out, have a good time, and I'll sign off, and I got like 15 follows because I'm hanging out with people, and all these people are joining, and you just get exposure. So that at the end of the day, that's like, how do you get natural exposure without being an asshole?
Yeah.
And that's how you do it. And be real, share people's posts. I'm not going to go on every day and just share every single post that I see, but like, if somebody is really busting their ass off, or like does something that really inspires me, or I'm just like, shit, that looks so fucking good, I gotta share that. Stuff like that. Or somebody's doing something really cool, and just being real genuine interaction and not focusing on yourself is huge. Like there's times where I'll be like, you know what, I need to help put the spotlight on other people because it's like they're really doing good work, and like especially like smaller accounts than me. Like say, like we talked about earlier, you and I were on the same path, and then numbers went my way, and I, you know, my follower count got higher, and it's like, and I look at you and you're like, you're doing great stuff too. There's amazing people who are, you know, just not getting lucky. Like, because I'll say that about me. It's like I posted something once. Some of my biggest posts that I've gotten is like I wasn't even going to post it, and it just like took off, and I don't know what the hell is going on. I have a post right now actually. We can talk about it if you want.
Yeah.
I posted it like 6 days ago. It's just beef ribs with a knife on a cutting board. Nothing special like at all. It has like 140,000 impressions right now.
Whew.
The reach is like 130K. It's got me like 140 follows. I know. I'm like, and you want to know the next highest number of impressions I have and this is a picture on a picture is 80K, and that was my biggest ever. The next one highest than that was 30K. My average could be like 2 to like 5. Like I really don't have my big reach at all. I never have. Mm-hmm. I'll get lucky and I'll get like 14 or whatever, and I have no idea how it works. It's just like random luck. And so there's people who aren't getting that lucky or not using right hashtags or posting at the wrong time. And so I think that's important to try and help them out. And that's a good way to build your page is be real. Don't be an asshole. Show support. Show people that you're part of this for the right reason. And if you're not trying to be on here to make friends because you're too busy, that's fine too. Don't feel bad about that. Like, not everybody has time to go on here and just share everybody else's posts. I know people who they're barely on IG to log in and post because they're just slammed, you know, and that's fine too. And we got to also recognize that and still support them. Like I know, you know, we're going to have a third baby in April. I don't know what this page is going to look like for me because, you know, I'm just, you know, that's my world. That's my life. That comes first before this. So I don't know if I'll have time to even cook, let alone get on here and post and try and support others. So that's something that I feel like we have to remember and help people out, even if they're not liking all your stuff all the time too.
You going to smoke some baby formula or what?
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, that would be something.
Yeah, I think like a big part of the algorithm is definitely luck. Like the one reel that I posted that you said you noticed took off for me, I put a steak in a pan and literally did nothing else. And it's like, yeah, here's 200,000 impressions. Like, pardon me?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Okay. And then I do like some big elaborate reel. It's like, yeah, 600 views.
I fucking hate that so much. Dude, so this was back when I was getting real frustrated before I had that like a quote unquote epiphany that I talked about earlier. It's like, I would put in so much time to like trying to be like these recipe building videos and like fancy editing and stuff, and it would get 500 views, and I'm just like, what is happening? And it's like, whatever. I was gonna do shit and, you know, try not to take up too much time because some of it takes up time and there's nothing you can do about it. But it's like you want to try and be smart about it and have like a strategy and a plan, but don't get all up in arms when your shit doesn't work because it's happening to everybody.
Yeah, it's nothing personal. It's just Mark Zuckerberg trying to maximize his profits. That's all it is. You're in his game.
Yeah, and I don't know, man. It's crazy. Have fun with it is the best thing you do. Have fun. Don't be an asshole. You'll do good.
I mean, I feel like I should have led that question as what not to do. But
yeah, really.
We covered that a lot too. Don't be shitty. Don't be fake. And just be a nice person. Be you and be nice and cook some nice looking food.
Yeah, nobody wants to help support an asshole. I've unfollowed people that I just like don't care for. I'm like,
yeah,
I'm not
100%.
going to follow you anymore. You've like, I won't name names, but like there's people who will see like other people will still follow them and talk about them and stuff. And if they even just post in their story and it's just like, so if somebody, I don't want to drop names politically and get into all that crap, but if somebody talks about a certain thing, movement, or whatever, anything that could be controversial or whatever, because politics in general is something I don't really talk about because I'm trying to focus on food and good vibes, positivity. I'm not going to unfollow them just because they're whatever they are, whatever their beliefs are, and you know, I don't care. Whatever, you're still a person, and that's more important than anything than whatever label. But like if you're constantly spreading negativity and like just almost kind of hate and I just have no time or patience for that. If you have a cause that is really important to you, like that to me is a risk, talking about something that people could disagree with, because people, whether or not you're doing it right or wrong, people could unfollow you for it. So that's a risk in itself. But it's like if you're doing it in the right way, that's totally fine with me. Mm-hmm. But if you're just don't be an asshole about it. Like, come on, like
all comes back to don't be an asshole.
Yeah, makes a t-shirt out
of
that.
That's it. How to start Instagram. Don't be an ass.
Yeah, I mean, there's no right or wrong to build your page and stuff. I mean, there's like what we talked about earlier, liking people's stuff. Like it may seem like a weird way to do things, but it's interaction. It's nothing wrong with it. And if you're doing that, you're using that as a strategy for people to go to your page and clicks and stuff. Go for it, but don't be an asshole.
It's going to be the title of this episode is Don't Be an Asshole with Matt Rose.
Yes.
So I think just about wrap this up. You kind of alluded to it earlier with you've got a third baby on the way, but do you have any kind of vision in the future for Girl Dad Grills? Do you have anywhere you want to see this go, or are you just riding the vibe?
Oh, man. I think that's a good way to describe me in general. Not even just what we're talking about, this whole social media stuff is riding the vibe. I don't know where I'm going. You know, I got my family. I went to school and all that crap, and I got a job. But, you know, I couldn't tell you what I'm going to be doing professionally in 5 years. I'm riding the vibe. Yeah. What does Girl Dad Grills look like in 5 years? In a couple of months, actually, I'm going to have a new name. I have a new handle name planned. Maybe in the next few weeks, actually. We'll see.
Well, you'll have to let me know, because I'll put this out after you change it.
Yeah, there you go. Oh, yeah. I'll let you know. I can tell you, we can say it right now if this is going to be out after I change it. Matt Outback is the new
Matt Outback. Yeah. All right. I like it.
So I've always so we're having a boy, so people always talk about, if you have a boy, you're going to have to change your name. And I was like, I don't know if you're right or not, but it makes sense. Like, I don't want my son to be like, oh, well, you don't care about me. You're just a girl dad. You're not a boy dad.
Yeah, don't be an asshole, Dad. Change your name.
Even before that, when I didn't think we were going to have a third kid, this was a surprise for us. I was already kind of thinking, like, I don't want. I was like, there's so many dad accounts on here, and I came up with this name not knowing that this page was going to jump off, and I picked Girl Dad Grills because I was like, they're my world, right? That's all I could think of. But yeah, I was kind of like, I want to try and think of a name that matches what I'm doing and like my vibe and like how I am. And so I was like, it's just me, Matt Outback. I'm just out back having a good time, and that's what it is. And so I feel like it has a good ring to it. And it's, as I said earlier, I'm not in this for free stuff and money and all that shit. If I'm not stupid, if my page has grown enough to start taking advantage of it, I'm going to take advantage of opportunities that come across me. I mean, I would be an idiot not to. But my main purpose, and that I always try to remind myself, and I use a hashtag all the time to remind myself, is, why I'm in this in the first place is to learn how to cook better, grow, and have a good time. And so Matt Outback, I think, kind of represents that.
That's awesome. I'm excited to see where that goes.
Thanks. And what I see I think I've gotten asked this question before, is like, I don't envision my page ever getting big enough to be like 100,000 followers or whatever it takes to be doing it full time. I don't think I'll ever get good enough or love this enough to do it full time. I don't think that's what I want. Maybe catering would be cool, but at the same, like, doing like a restaurant or like a food truck, that just sounds like so much work, and I don't know. I personally don't think I'm good enough to do that. Like, I live in Texas, right?
There's a few people who can barbecue there.
If I'm going to be selling barbecue, my shit better be good as hell. Like,
don't you dare put anything other than salt and pepper on that beef.
I mean, Texas barbecue is my favorite, and it is what it is. But yeah, like if you can go 10 minutes away from where I'm selling stuff and just get shit that's amazing, like Goldie's Barbecue is in the same town as me, basically. It's on the opposite end. It's like 30 minutes at least away. But if people can go out and get the #1 rated Texas joint, like in my area, and I'm trying to sell stuff, I have to be good. And I don't know if I'll ever get that good. So, but I mean, I don't know. I actually have gotten a request from like my wife's coworkers to make food for their potluck. That was fun. I was nervous as hell. My wife took leftover wings that I made once up there, and one of her coworkers was like freaking out about it, and so she's asking me to make some wings for her. So I'm gonna start doing that. I mean,
it's awesome.
Just individual requests. If anybody ever asks me to make something for them, I'll do it. I think that would be kind of cool. Maybe I see people all the time doing like Thanksgiving orders and Super Bowl orders, and
at the end of the day, we all just want to cook for people.
Yeah,
it's great to cook for ourselves, but seeing someone else eat it is like, that's the money shot.
It's
right
like
there.
a rush, isn't it? I get the urge to like just smoke a brisket. And I'm not even hungry. I'm like, I just want to make a brisket. Somebody take it, come eat it, and tell me it's good. You know.
That's it. You make a brisket on a Monday. You're like, I got to eat this damn thing for a week now. I can't cook anything else because I have so much food left over. It would be wasteful. But
so I do have that urge to make food for people. So I'm kind of conflicted. I don't want to like do all this work all the time doing that, but at the same time I do. I don't know. I don't know what I want. That's my answer. Riding the vibe is a good way to put it. I like that.
Riding the vibe. That's awesome.
I might steal that.
Do it.
Start using that in my posts.
That's the new hashtag right there. Matt Outback riding the vibe.
Let's go.
Well, man, thanks so much for chatting with me this morning. I know you had to have a work call and stuff before, but thanks for taking the time out of your day to speak with me about this.
Absolutely. Anytime, man. Thanks for having me on.
So where can everyone find you if they want to learn more about Matt?
You can find me at Matt Outback. That's MATT out OUT back BACK.
Awesome. And I'll link all that in the show notes there. And you have yourself a great day. Thanks again for chatting with me.
Thanks, Jordan. Appreciate it.
That's it for my chat with Matt Rose. It was great to sit down and chat with Matt because we've been following and interacting with each other since we both started this barbecue journey. So it was pretty awesome to just sit down and have a conversation with him instead of messaging back and forth through DMs. He's a great guy, and you should definitely give him a follow at Matt Outback. That's matt.out.back. He's got great content, hilarious videos, and everything he cooks just looks amazing. There's two things that really stuck with me in this conversation. The first one, although it might seem obvious, is just don't be an asshole. No one wants to engage with you if you're rude or grumpy or unapproachable, and it's not going to help you grow your account, and it's certainly not going to help you build relationships with people within the community. The second thing is that you don't need to wait until you hit a certain milestone in order to try and get partnerships or generate income sources with your account. If you're ready to start partnering with brands, just start putting feelers out there and talking to them. Engage, start a dialogue, use their products, start tagging them. If they see the potential that working with you can bring them in their business, they won't pay any attention to the follower counts. That will just be a bonus for them. And this will help give you amazing experience for when you're dealing with bigger brands and larger deals. There's no time like now, so just start working on it if you feel you're ready to do so. That will do it for this episode of Influential Barbecue. Thank you so much for tuning in this week. You can find links to everything we talked about today on the show notes page at influentialbarbecue.com, episode 005. I'm always looking for feedback on this show from you. I'm sitting in my studio recording in front of a black hole, so any feedback you give me will help me improve this show to bring you better episodes. So please shoot me an email at podcast@influentialbarbecue.com or send a DM to Influential Barbecue on Instagram. If you enjoy the podcast, please share it with those that you think would enjoy it and benefit from it as well. I'm Jordan Moore. You can follow my barbecue adventures at The Backyard Brisket. Thank you so much for listening. Happy New Year. We'll see you next week, and keep on growing.